Hello, welcome to SquishiVision, where I'm going to give my immediate thoughts on what if the world lost its mightiest heroes. Although I've just realised I've spelt it wrong on the not spelled it wrong, but I've put IT as in information technology rather than its, which is changed now. So I've just watched it, not scrubbed through anything, not going to go into a massive amount of detail, just my immediate thoughts. I just watched it. So this is a much darker episode compared to the other two fairly light and uplifting what's if episodes. Like, they're quite fun episodes. They featured a different hero in a position of another hero, and it was actually quite, the ramifications of that were actually in some cases quite positive. Or well, I suppose in the instance of Captain America and Captain Britain, the change was inconsequential, and then obviously with T'Challa, it was a more positive change. Um, Whereas this episode is much, much darker because all the Avengers got assassinated, and obviously the ramifications of that were quite dire. Loki was just able to take over the Earth and completely subjugate it. It was quite a relatively dark ending in that sense. And some of the deaths were quite gruesome. Like for like well, I mean, some of them were really implied. Yeah. Well, the Hulk got blown up, which was like yuck. Um, we didn't see the details of how he killed Barton and Natasha, so that's quite dark, silver dark. Let's talk about the cast quickly. So, not as much of the original cast returned. Lake Bell, who I don't know who that is, voices Black Widow. And actually does a very, very decent impersonation of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. It's actually quite similar in inflection, so good on that. Mike Wingate voices Iron Man, but very, very few lines, so not enough to really tell how good the impersonation was. To be fair, they probably could have just used, and they may have even done this, the original audio from the films, and he just voiced the new stuff, which I think was just a laugh. Um, Somehow Jeremy Renner doesn't sound like Hawkeye, even though it's Jeremy Renner. Like, if I was gonna say there was one person who didn't sound like the movie, it would be Hawkeye, but it's not Jeremy Renner. So I don't know if I'm just so used to Jeremy Renner's kind of physical inflections, informing a lot of his kind of vocal performance. Because when you remove it, it was the same for when in his slight appearance in the first episode of this in this show as well. I just was like, is that Jeremy? It doesn't sound like Jeremy Renner. It was Jeremy Renner. That's really really weird. I realized I said Renner, not Renner. Not why. Betty Boss wasn't being voiced by Liv Tyler, but I think it would have been quite impressive if it was, considering that she's only just been that one movie and not had anything else with the MCU since. I wonder if it's probably Aston probably turned it down because she didn't care enough. Um, it was noticeably not Liv Tyler's voice, but it's been that long, now. Mark Ruffalo plays Bruce Banner, which is obviously very interesting because this is set during the time when it was Edward Norton playing the role. Um, so yeah, that's a very interesting I guess multiversal ramification, whatever that means actually. But yeah, so I always wondered what the chemistry would be like between Mark Ruffalo and Liv Tyler. I just didn't. I don't know. I just felt based on how Mark Ruffalo played Banner, wouldn't have really paired off well to Liv Tyler's Betty Ross. But now in this episode, they had like one interaction, but I could kind of buy it. I did think actually when they showed like the brief snapshot at the beginning of the original events um, from the Hulk, and it was just the snapshot was the still image of the Hulk. They used a thinner version, and it to me seemed to be like very Edward Norton-ish, but slightly Mark Ruffalo. So I feel like I'm talking about ingredients or taste here. So I wonder if they did, that was a little bit homage to Edward Norton, and didn't completely forget that he was the actor. I guess it was interesting to see because I always like fear, like fan kind of hoped that they would, I don't know, CGI or green screening or deep fake, which is the popular thing now, Mark Ruffalo onto Edward Norton's performance and see how well it kind of looked and see if we could kind of recanonize what he looks like at that point. This is, I guess, the closest we're going to get to it, the closest we've got to it so far. Um, yeah, it was just interesting. I mean, the show wasn't Liv Tyler because it would have been nice to actually see at least vocally how they paired off against each other. But then again, like I said, they only had one interlocution between them, so it doesn't really hugely matter. But it is interesting. I wonder if they asked Edward Norton. I mean, maybe they didn't because they've kind of cut off ties with him. But it would be interesting if they asked him. It would have been even even more interesting if he said yes. They also didn't get what's his name, William Hurt, to voice Ross, which is odd because they've kind of brought him back quite enthusiastically, and there's a whole bunch of things now, and even very small things. So you think he'd be happy to do, well, essentially, 2 lines of dialogue. But alas, no. We got some called Mike McGill. You what I think a very decent impersonation of William Hunt. You know what? I don't care because I recently found out that actually he's abusive. He's a domestic abuser. So who cares? Who his name actually is. Jimmy Alexandra returned as Lady Sif in like what I think was a single line of dialogue. And I guess unsurprisingly, Brie Larson didn't return for the single line of dialogue of Carol Danvers, but I guess the single line of dialogue you can kind of forgive it. I guess it's more a cost thing. If it was, I realize this is pissing, maybe odds of the philosophy of don't work for free, and also maybe this is probably coming from coming from the perspective of someone who doesn't work in the industry as in the same level that they do. But if I was asked to basically record one line of dialogue, which would be probably very inconsequential to me, and I get some degree of money from it, and probably could do it over the phone. I don't know why I wouldn't, but whatever. That's just me. Yeah. So yeah, definitely a darker episode. Nice little change of pace. It's shows the anthology part of this whole show. It's like we don't have to show the fun, silly changes. We show meaningful, massive ramifications. It was quite dark and violent while still being relatively cartoonish. What else? What else? We go. Why was Janet Van Dyne's account still active? Because it says that he logged in using her account. Why would her account even still be active this long after her death? I don't know. Interesting that in this universe, Hope Van Dyne became an agent of Shield. Why does he keep his pager in a car, like not on him? What if the car, as they often do, get destroyed? Seems a bit of a oversight. Like I'd keep it in my pocket, whatever. And I also make spares, but whatever. What else about stuff did I enjoy? I think I just love seeing all the phase 1 set pieces. I think that was quite enjoyable. Yeah, I think I've given a decent kind of review of that. It was dark. It was somewhat funny, but in a weird place. The fact that they felt Thor's corpse smelt nice was a bit irky. Don't know why that was needed. I guess they went for some level of levity in there. But but yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed that. I'm gonna go watch because I'm overdue. I'm gonna go watch Lower Decks now, and I'll do my reaction to that. So if you're a Star Trek fan, stick around. Other than that, and then I'm gonna finally get around to do my reaction to Spider-Man trailer as well. So stick around for that. All right, cheers for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.